Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar. Then we'll have a look at the latest weather warnings, so we do have a thunderstorm warning in force for tomorrow, and then we'll have a look at some of the shorter range models looking at the potential for thunderstorms tomorrow, and of course have a look at temperatures as well on the UKMO office run. And then we'll run through the mid to longer range, look at the GFS, GEM, ECMWF and the ensembles as this weekend and to the start of next week. It does look like it could be turning colder than average, back towards sort of mid to high teens for high temperatures, much cooler than what we have at the moment, which is mid-20s. But in the longer term, it does look potentially like it could return back towards average for the right at the end of June and start of July. It does look like there will be plenty of showers around over the next couple of weeks, though. It does look like low pressure will be in and around the UK for quite a period of time. Could be bringing in, again, a lot of showers and maybe some more thunderstorm outbreaks. But we do have this big risk tomorrow, and we'll have a look at that in detail now. Just remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. And remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So, if we do start on the live radar, you can see that most of the British Isles is pretty dry at the moment. We do have a few showers over the course of far north of Scotland. Bit of a weather front trying to push in there, but really not making too much inroads. Just a bit of cloud and some heavier pulses of rain across the far north of Scotland, but not really for many regions. Elsewhere, as I said, it's very dry, but you can see across Europe major thunderstorm outbreaks across parts of France, Switzerland, into parts of northwest Italy as well. You can see these big thunderstorm cells, and these storms are not heading towards the UK, but the energy that is sparking these storms is heading towards the UK. The instability with this in the Cape values are going towards the UK tomorrow. And as we'll see in the moment, it's looking likely there could be some massive storms tomorrow. The one thing we have with it is, unlike what we've had recently with our storm outbreaks, where they've been a lot of big triggers, low pressure, a lot of precipitation around, but it's been the uncertainty has been with the intensity and where those storms break out. Tomorrow, it looks like that it's more of the trigger that's going to be sort of the limiting factor. There's a lot of energy there in the atmosphere tomorrow. We'll see the Cape values tomorrow are very, very high through central England within the yellow warning zone. But it's where we see that trigger, where we see those storms pop off. So it could be a scenario where quite a few areas are dry, but if you do see showers and storms pop off, they're going to be very, very intense indeed and could be quite slow moving as well. And we'll have a look at that in detail now. So, if we do have a look at the weather warning, you can see a widespread weather warning across most of England, or at least southern parts of England, excluding the far southwest and parts of eastern parts of Wales, from 10 a.m. tomorrow until midnight. Now, thunderstorms are likely to break out in some areas, particularly during the afternoon and early evening, while most places will probably miss them. Where the thunderstorms do occur, there is a chance that in a few places, up to 40 millimetres of rain could fall in an hour or so, and 40 to 60 millimetres could fall in 2 or 3 hours. These torrential downpours may be accompanied by frequent lightning, whilst gusty winds and hail may also affect a few places. The exact location of storms will be hard to pinpoint, so the warning area will be kept under review. So, many areas within this yellow warning zone may not see storms, but some areas in here are going to see storms, and they're going to be intense. And you can see high impact, low likelihood, because, as I said, the trigger is the issue. That's what we were looking at, where these storms are going to pop off. But where they do pop off, there is a high impact from those storms. So, if we do start by having a look at the UKMO office run, have a look at the precipitation and temperature over the next 5 days, and then we'll have a look at the WRF run, looking at what the Cape and precipitation is there. Now, you can see today another really nice day, really quite pleasant. Not too much going on. That precipitation in the far north is a little bit more intense than the chart is showing in reality, but most areas are dry with some cloud but breaking apart. Tomorrow you can see those storms starting to pop off in the far south, and where they do take off, it could be very intense. You see these cells are very isolated, they're scattered as well, not particularly well organised, but where they do pop off, they could become more organised, and they could be very intense with some real deep reds within the centre of some of these cells. And they will continue into the evening, perhaps concentrating further westwards and northwestwards through the evening, and then we could see another little system move through early hours of Friday there. Could be some very intense storms there. Looks like there's going to be a proper trigger there, which could pep up these storms. But by Friday, we are seeing that low pressure that's lingering out the Atlantic at the moment really push in, and it's just going to mean it's going to be turning much more showery with a lot of heavy rain and thunderstorm outbreaks. And you can see through Saturday, quite a few showers, and Sunday very similarly, a lot of showers, mainly in the north and west, closer to the centre of the low that you can see just offshore of Western Ireland, and that continues into Monday. And if we do just have a look at the upper air temperatures, the reason why we've got big storms tomorrow is because we've got quite a lot of fuel. We've got warm upper air temperatures and big Cape values within that, and it's going to be triggering these storms. However, as we head towards Monday, you can see that colder air is sweeping in off the Atlantic. Now, it's not amazingly cold, slightly below average, and that warmer air of around 10 to 12 degrees at 850 HPA, which we have at the moment, it's getting swept away. So those temperatures are going to be about 5 to 8 degrees cooler than they are now. So back towards mid to high teens, maybe 20 degrees for a few areas further eastwards. So if we do have a look at what the max temperatures are showing over the next 5 days, you can see today we're seeing those temperatures peak in around that 25 to 27 degree mark. Maybe the isolated 28 degrees somewhere, but we'll have to wait until this evening to see what those peak temperatures are. As we head towards tomorrow, you can see the temperatures could peak in around 30 degrees across parts of the Midlands and northern England. But further southwards, where we would see mid to high 20s, maybe 30 degrees, it's a bit cooler towards low 20s, maybe mid 20s in a few spots that avoid the thunderstorms. And that's because with showers and thunderstorms, it's going to cool the air down. So it's going to prevent some of the sunshine, and it's just generally going to cool the air down through evaporative cooling within those showers as well. So it will be warm tomorrow, but some areas could be a little bit cooler just because of the shower and thundery activity. But generally tomorrow will be a warmer, if not hotter day, with those temperatures maybe peaking around the 29 or 30 degree mark. So if we do have a look at Friday, you can see those temperatures are falling back down to sort of 20 to 22 degrees, maybe 23, 24 in the far east, where we hold on to the warmer air for longer. And by Saturday, again, 21 to 23 degrees in the far east, but much cooler further westwards. And by Sunday, again, 22, 23 in the far east, much cooler further westwards, back towards mid to high teens, maybe 20 degrees in a few spots. But that will be sweeping further eastwards as we head into Monday, Tuesday time. So if we now have a look at the WRF run, have a look at the Cape. Now, this is surface level Cape. A lot of the thunderstorm risks we've been looking at recently have been most unstable Cape. This is surface-based Cape, so it's going to be surface-based storms, big Cape values you'll see in a minute. Nothing at the moment as we head through this afternoon. Very little. You can see some little bit in the far bottom right of the screen towards France. But as we head towards tomorrow morning, the Cape values increase across the far southeast initially for around 1, 2 p.m. But as we head towards 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 p.m, reds start to appear. Intense Cape values could be seen across parts of central England tomorrow. So, big storm risk. Again, they're in isolated positions. So, it's this central England spot into northern England, parts of Wales. If storms do trigger in these regions, we could be seeing some intense, and I mean intense, downpours with these Cape values. They do head northwards before degrading through early hours of Friday, and then pick up a little bit through Friday afternoon through central areas. Nothing too crazy, but enough to trigger heavy, maybe a few thundery showers, but not quite as intense as those on Thursday. As we head towards Saturday, again, could be some Cape picking up, and you can see it's heading in from the west. So we could see some more in Cape values on Saturday, but we'll have to wait until then to see if anything does crop up. But yeah, intense storms could be seen tomorrow, as seen by those Cape charts. If we have a look at the precipitation, the raw precipitation here, if we do move to tomorrow, you can see the showers start to develop in the far south around sort of 10, 11, 12, and really picking up through the afternoon. Now, you can see they're not widespread. They're not completely like a big system that we have seen recently when we've been looking at thunderstorms. They're pop-up storms. I must emphasize that. It's not some complex multi-celled system at this stage that could develop later on tomorrow, but it does look like they're going to be pop-up storms where they do just get triggered, and some areas see some very intense rainfall, other areas 10 miles away see very, very little. It's not what we've had for recent storm outbreaks. There's been a larger area of rain with thunderstorms embedded into it. It's going to be mainly thunderstorms with precipitation associated with it, but if you do see showers and rain, it's most likely to be heavy and thundery, so it could be very intense with that. And as we head through Thursday evening to early hours of Friday, some more showers and storms potentially breaking out through Friday afternoon, and just again a lot of showers and precipitation around with that. So if we do now look at the longer range, look at the GFS, GM, ECMWF and the ensembles, you can see low pressure just heading up from our south, providing the trigger to these storms with the warm air associated with it. And you can look at the 850 HPA temperatures for the early hours of tomorrow, around 10 degrees. And if you have a look at the Cape values from the GFS, you can see again, zoomed out, you can see large Cape values across Europe and the United Kingdom, and that's what's triggering these storms. Now, beyond that, you do see low pressure is running in off the Atlantic, and it's going to turn us very unsettled, especially further northwards and westwards. Not going to be any massive weather fronts, not going to be any majorly strong winds, gusty winds, but nothing crazy, and it's just going to generally be quite a showery outlook. Beyond that, as we head into Monday, again, you see a few showers moving around, a few areas of low pressure moving around, and generally beyond that into parts of early July, it does recover. High pressure does recover back in with those low pressure systems sort of retreating back towards Greenland and Iceland. So yeah, unsettled from around day 5 to day 10, but in the longer term, high pressure does return with, of course, a warmer air mass trying to push up from the south. You see that very hot air is never too far away, but in the near future it doesn't look like it's coming back to the UK on this latest GFS run. So if we do have a look at the GM, see how that does compare. Again, low pressure running in over the next couple of days, something things more unsettled. Low pressure still milling around all the way to day 10 before eventually disintegrating, and high pressure trying to push back in. And you can see very hot air to our east. We are just missing out on this very hot pulse of air coming out of the Mediterranean, but it's close by, so we could tap into it. We'll just have to see. There are definitely some ensemble members trying to tap us into that very hot air, as we'll see in the ensemble charts at the end of the video. If we do run through the ECMWF, see how that does compare. Again, high pressure is moving to our east, low pressure is controlling our weather, and all the way to day 10, low pressure is around and just stuck over the top of the UK. Look at the upper air temperatures. Some very hot air could get wrapped into this, not dominating it, but wrapped into it, and that could turn us very, very unsettled with stormy weather in terms of thunderstorm weather within that, and stronger winds potentially on the southern side of this low. A lot of showers. It could be very unsettled through the end of June and start of July. Again, it's not guaranteed. You can see all the other runs that have different scenarios, but this ECMWF run would be very, very horrible indeed. It'll be a scenario where there's going to be showers every day, quite widely, some of them turning very heavy and thundery. So if we do finish the video by having a look at the ensembles, you can see very warm for the next day or two with a thunderstorm risk tomorrow, and then we see a reduction in those upper air temperatures as that low initially arrives, but around the 28th, 29th of June, we return to average and sort of hold around average. You can see some of those ensemble members are very warm, and that's what we saw from the GM right at day 10, where it does go very, very warm. Some of these pushing up that very hot air, but the majority are around average. But there is increased precipitation as low pressure is centred towards the UK. If you have a look at those 2 metre temperatures, you can see at the next day or two is very warm, but as we head towards Saturday, Sunday, Monday time, those temperatures are going to reduce back towards the low 20s and more likely mid to high teens further westwards. In the longer term, it will recover back to the average sort of temperature of the year, which is around, or this time of year, around 21, 22 degree highs in the longer term. But with increased precipitation, those temperatures are very going to be dependent on the shower activity for that day. If you have a look at the ECMWF ensembles, again, warm over the next day or two, returning much below average, sort of 3, 4, 5 degrees for the 25th to about 29th of June. And then around the 30th, we are seeing the signal potentially of a bump in upper air temperatures. The ECMWF Operational Run there goes very warm, but most of the ensemble members are still around average. There's big uncertainty what happens exactly there. And in the longer term, some are very warm, some are cool, and you can see there is an increased precipitation risk. So low pressure does look like it's going to be quite, it's going to be around the corner most of the time. So it doesn't look like there's any bone dry weather coming up. It doesn't look massively cold. It doesn't look massively hot in the longer term. But like this week, this sort of warmer weather we've had this week has sort of spawned out of nowhere. We originally thought the upper air temperatures were going to be around average, but sort of end of last week towards the weekend, those temperatures did slowly start to rise. So we could see something like that, where at the moment it's showing around average, but we could see some warmer weather in there. So I wouldn't discount it at this stage, but we're not seeing anything sort of 30 degree plus sort of conditions in the near future. So it does look like it's going to be quite a big thunderstorm risk tomorrow if you are in England and Wales. Please do keep an eye on the radar, as they are going to be pop-up storms. They're going to be pretty slow moving, so please do take the necessary precautions. If you are seeing a storm arrive, please do go inside. If you've got stuff outside, do take shelter, of course, with it, as they could be very, very intense. But they will be hit and miss. They will be scattered. Most areas will not see storms. So fingers crossed, if you have got something planned tomorrow, you do avoid these thunderstorms. But they could be very severe. We do have a yellow warning in force, and we do have very, very high Cape values. So a lot of energy available to these storms. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you stay safe tomorrow and enjoy the warm weather if you do avoid those storms. And I'll see you again for another video soon.